Gold and silver are not high. They've been suppressed since 1988. Gold should be selling somewhere north of $3,000 an ounce, and silver probably at $75 an ounce. It is going to happen. There's no way they can stop it. They can't have any other kind of currencies unless they back them with gold, because no one's going to accept them. I mean, you see the beeline that's been taken in Europe recently, and in the United States to some extent, and of course the ongoing purchasing in India, China, and the Middle East. There's not enough out there. It just isn't. And what is gold? It's real money. It's the only currency in the world. Doesn't owe anybody anything. And I buy every time I get money. Every 2 or 3 weeks. And I just keep on doing it, and so does my family. And for those of you who want to get leverage without using derivatives or margin, you buy gold and silver shares. And they'll go up 5 or 10 times more than bullion will. And that is where the real money is made in the market. But I think that answers all your questions.
Bob, one of the questions I do get in the chat room from time to time is people who say to me, yes, gold and silver seem like a good investment, but they are so manipulated at this point in time that it's hard to tell what a fair market price entry point is. That's pretty obvious. It's now, and you buy into it when you can. But the greater question that gets asked is, what is the scenario under which the manipulation will end? We have some class action suits that are contemplating being filed against J.P. Morgan and others for the manipulation of silver. All that kind of thing obviously is bringing out, to light and out from under the cover of darkness all of this manipulation that's been going on. But what's the scenario going forward for what will allow those gold prices to go up in the event that manipulation ends? I mean, the government's been doing this for a long time. A lot of my email comments come in from people that say, well, why should that change, and what will be the tipping point that ends it? When will it end suddenly? What will happen?
Well, first of all, I've just explained why gold and silver should be purchased. And that reason is it's they are way underpriced. If you go to real inflation since 1980, not the official version, which would have gold at $2,400 an ounce, but the $7,100 to $7,500 an ounce. Okay? So there's a good reason. The second answer is, you tell me what you want to buy that's better than gold and silver, and why. And if you can convince me, I'll go do that. But, I've been doing this over 50 years, and I don't think there's anything else that's out there that I would want to own. As far as the manipulation is concerned, we have an election coming up in November. If you throw all of the incumbents, with the exception of a few, out of office, we can get legislation through to end executive orders and to end the manipulation of markets through the working group in financial markets, euphemistically called the plunge protection team. Also, as Ralph said a few minutes ago, there are a number of class action lawsuits that are going to be filed. The first one, I think, will be ready next week. And I have a person in New York who's a professional journalist. He's one of our subscribers, and I know him quite well. We cover and carry his work, which I think is brilliant. And needless to say, I'm not going to tell you who he is. And he told me the other day that it should happen next week. And he can't write about it because the attorneys involved in the first great class action lawsuit asked him not to. They couldn't force him to, but they said, look, we don't want people to know what we're doing. And so it'll come out. Now, one of the things that terrorizes these criminals is class actions. In the brokerage business, which I spent 28 years on Wall Street, and I owned my own brokerage firm for a number of those years, usually what happens when you have a case where J.P. Morgan Chase is going to be accused of market manipulation, they go to arbitration. That's not going to happen here. They have to go in federal district court, and they have to defend themselves. I know exactly what the defense is going to be.
Well, the government made us do it.
That's right. But it's not going to relieve them of the responsibility of paying these people off. And they're going to be told by the court that not only are you going to pay these people off, whether the government told you to do it or not, but you're going to stop doing what you're doing in both the gold and silver markets. And that's what will break their back. And they already know that. And they're trying their best to keep gold and silver contained as much as possible. And they're not going to be successful. By the end of the year, we'll be looking probably anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 and maybe higher. Who knows? You're stealing gold and silver at these prices. Stealing. Because these nincompoops in the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberger Group, guys like Paul Volcker, CFR Trilat Bilderberger, hates gold. The reason he hates gold is because gold tells the truth. I mean,
gold shines on their lives.
I mean, we can't have anybody tell the truth. I mean, how you know why I live in another country and hide? Because I know what these people are capable of. They threaten me enough times, and I'm not stupid. I used to work for them. And so that's why the cartelization, the suppression will end. You have no place else to go. Can't you get that through your heads out there? There is no alternative. They can't flood the market with gold and silver because they don't have it.
Bob,
another aspect of this, too, is we could have a collapse in the derivative market. Now you've got...
that's just a matter of not if, but when.
That's right. And you also have the possibility, you also have the probability of the collapse of the LBMA in London, which is similar to the COMEX in New York, gold and silver and other things. Their leverage is 100 to 1. They like to have their own fractional banking system. And they sell 100 ounces of gold for every one that they have. And one of the biggest months for delivery is June. Well, I think we're looking at something like 40 tons. They're going to have to pay a 50% premium to get half of the people not to take delivery. That's an expensive proposition. But they'll still take down 20 tons that they don't have. And so we're going to have a very hot summer in the gold and silver markets. And that's another aspect, because when LBMA and COMEX can't deliver, then the people that they're dealing with, like the exchange-traded funds called GLD, which is gold, and SLV, which is silver, they don't have the gold and silver they say they have. They might have someplace between 10 and 30%. The rest are derivatives.
Let me stick
They can't make delivery.